Power Hour with John Lee.
Boom! Yes, my friends, welcome back to the Power Hour. Sexy me again. We're going to be talking today about serial killers one time and what they do. But I'm going today for the crazy motherfuckers. And maybe they're not serial killers in every case, a couple of spree killers perhaps. But, you know, killers of multiple victims. And the reason I'm looking at them is because they were fucking crazy lunatics. And you know, does that make it less serious? Can we feel sorry for them? Does it change the game in any way? I think it does. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I do know that there's a certain standard in most countries for what constitutes being insane, and it's not the same as being mentally ill. And curiously, the standard, the international standard, is that is whether or not you know right from wrong, which is you know, in many disciplines a kind of learned, socialized concept. And your right and my wrong might be very similar, as your wrong and my wrong might be completely different. So to use that and to say, well, according to the norms of our society, right and wrong is the following, and this person doesn't know that, therefore they are insane, is quite a strange standard. And so what that means is that, you know, you can cover yourself in butter and then just casually sit on the bus. And that doesn't mean you're insane. And so you can be absolutely fucking barking mad, and they'll still say you're not insane because you ran away from the police. And in the act of running away from the police, you demonstrated that you knew there were consequences for what you had done, and you tried to avoid those consequences. Therefore, you're not legally insane, and you can be tried as a normal perpetrator. I think that whole, I don't know, the basis in law is dodgy to say the least. I mean, I can understand if you got a knife and you started cutting people up in the supermarket and just didn't run and stood there covered in blood saying what? They could think, yeah, this guy's fucking gonskis, you know. But it doesn't mean to say that I wouldn't understand that I'd get arrested and go to prison. I might think all kinds of crazy shit about that, and who knows what I'm seeing through my eyes. So anyway, we're looking at crazy fuckers who did really bad things. And I'm going to start with my mate, Herbert William Mullin. Herbert Mullin, what can I say about him? He was intelligent, Herbert. Good-looking kid. A good athlete. What the Americans quite antagonisingly call the all-American boy. I'm not sure what the fuck that's supposed to mean. I mean, if it's trying to say that the Americans have got some kind of monopoly on good-looking, intelligent, fucking hard-working people, I don't know. If they're trying to say that, they can fuck off. If they mean that that pertains to the American ideal of the young man, great. Exclusively or especially, no, not at all. But anyway, it's what they call the all-American boy, and he was American, so we'll have that. Normal family, good upbringing, popular at school, nothing really to write home about. And if you did say something good about him, something about him at all, it would be good, I would suggest. But unfortunately, he had mental health problems that seemed to set in when he was in his late teens. And this is very, very common. According to what I know, men are heavily affected by these kinds of diseases, schizophrenia. And it is a disease, schizophrenia. It eats the brain. And so, or the surface of the brain. And again, I'm not a doctor, but I know that much. And it tends to set in around the late teens. So have you ever seen somebody that looks an absolute fucking freak? And you look closer and you realise you went to school with them and they were actually really normal or even popular at school, and you look at them and think, what the fuck? it could be schizophrenia. They could be suffering from schizophrenia. And so he was one of those cases. And he got it into his head at some point that, among many other things, he had the power to create a cure or a prevention or a protection against earthquakes. Earthquakes were part of some fucking delusional fantasy that he had. And he thought that he could stop them. And there was some kind of Kennedy connection there, where Kennedy was supposed to go somewhere and he didn't, India maybe, and then when he didn't go there was an earthquake and he thought he'd saved Kennedy's life, some shit like that, some fucked up warp shit about saving the president's life from death in an earthquake. And I think there was a helicopter involved as well. But anyway, he was in this fantasy land and he was trying to prevent earthquakes by killing people. He decided that the best way to stop earthquakes, or the only way to do it, was to kill people. Maybe he thought it was some kind of human sacrifice. So if you go back to the Maya, people like that, ancient cultures in South America, they used to sacrifice people and give the blood to the land, so that would replenish the soil, and the next year they'd get a bountiful crop and all that. You'd have flowers everywhere. These people were intelligent and they believed that. So maybe he's read that or something like that, and he's come to this conclusion that you need to give to the land. And maybe the earth was angry, or God was angry, and that was manifesting itself in an earthquake. And so the earth or God or whatever, both needed to be appeased with a blood sacrifice. So this is his thinking. Now, while he's fucking losing it large, he's thinking that he can wait to start actually killing people himself, because the Vietnam War was causing enough blood from American bodies to keep the earthquake situation under wraps. And a lot of Americans died in the Vietnam War. So how many bodies he thought were necessary, how much blood he thought needed to be spilt in order to stop these earthquakes from happening, I don't know. And what he was planning to do if the Vietnam War ever stopped is something else. And so when the Vietnam War ended, he thought, fuck this. There's going to be earthquakes everywhere. You know what I mean? In fact, is that an earthquake? He's got fucking really paranoid about it. And so he goes out and he's driving down the old road War, and he sees a guy on an old man in his garden, doing a bit of gardening. Fucking shoots him, parks up this really quiet area, parks up, fucking shoots him, shoots Herbert Mullin. Herbert Mullin shoots him and drives away. I mean, cowardly fucking shooting. And that's it. He's on it now, and he's training all the time. He's teaching himself to box. He goes down to a boxing gym. Apparently he's making an effort rather than being good, but he's totally dedicated to it. And I've seen this. I've seen some mental health issues in my time, and that is very common, to kind of throw yourself into something and say, right, I'm going to be a fucking karate master, and you'll see the fucker, you know, outside the supermarket doing his kicks, doing his punches, and if anyone says anything, he'll fucking run away. So he was doing that one and preparing himself, you know, for the apocalypse, or how to survive an earthquake with karate, whatever the fuck, and honing his boxing skills. And he went and he killed someone else, and I'm not doing that, you know, scientific fucking, he did this and then he did that, and this was the crime and that was the crime. I'm talking about the mental health of the person, and the world that he lived in, the world that he occupied. You see, he fucking believed this. But the only spanner in those works is the following: that at one point he blamed his condition, his mental health issues, on drugs. He decided that drugs were the problem. And he remembered the friend from school that had given him drugs in the first place. And so he went to his friend's house and fucking attacked him and killed him. Now the problem for me there is that shows at least some fucking window of clarity where he knew he had a problem. Whether the drugs were the cause of the problem or not, I don't know. Again, I've seen that. I've seen people lose it on drugs, and not just for the night. I've seen people go and never come back. On LSD, I've seen weed send people fucking doolally. Not many, but I've seen it. So could he have had a bad trip that he never came back from? And did he get that trip from that guy? And did that guy lie to him about how strong the trip was? And he remembered it and thought, you fucker, I'm like this because of you. That's all possible. If someone gave you a bad trip, told you, no, they're all right, these, they're mild, don't worry about it. And then you've had 3, and it's been the most horrendous experience of your life, and you've never come back down off the trip. I think when you fucking remembered that, you would be pretty fucking angry. And if you've already killed a few peeps, you think, fuck it, I'll throw him in the mix. While I'm killing peeps, I'm killing that cunt over there. And that's what he did. Killed him. Well, he didn't stop there. That didn't satisfy his bloodlust. He carried on with his killings. And in the end, there was an old guy, whitey white, homeless man. And he battered him with a baseball bat. I mean, the guy, I think he was hitchhiking, if I remember rightly. This old guy is hitchhiking, called Whitey, well-known character in the area. And fucking Mullin turns up, pulls up his car, and he says to him, can you have a look at my engine, please? I think there's something wrong with my engine. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about under the bonnet. So can you have a fucking look and all that? So he goes under the bonnet and all that. I mean, this is cowardly as fuck. You've been boxing training. You've got a baseball bat. And you're having to trick an old man. I mean, you know, it's bad on much worse levels than that. But even that element of it, you're such a fucking pussy. It's unbelievable. You're taking your pussiness beyond your fucking craziness with this shit. So the poor old bastard thinks, I'll get a lift and maybe some money. I'll have a look at his engine. And he's fucking attacked him and beat him to death. He beat the poor bastard to death with a bat. And he got caught in the end, and they took him to trial. And I mean, he was clearly not right, and he's fucking never been right. And I mean, since then, even on the inside, the guy is fucking seriously mentally ill. And this is where I stop being so cocky and say, I actually don't know. The guy is seriously mentally fucking ill. That's clear, right? But is he insane enough to the point where you're not going to hold him responsible for his actions? He knew why. He had a perfectly fucking logical reason for killing his mate. And he tricked the old man. So if you're tricking him, it's because you're weighing it up. You're looking at it, you're thinking, I don't fancy my chances against this old man, just me and my little old baseball bat. I'm going to fucking trick him, and when he turns his back, then I'm going to slap time him to death. So I say put him in a fucking cell. Put him in a fucking cell and leave him there. And at the same time, I mean, you'd have to see through his eyes to understand. I think if the man is suffering from acute schizophrenia, which I've seen in a very good friend of mine who got murdered because he made a whole lot of bad decisions, having become a really, really serious paranoid schizophrenic. I know, I've seen how far you can go off the fucking, off the rails. But my mate wasn't violent, so I haven't come across that. And being violent and being a fucking cowardly, custard motherfucker like this guy are two totally different things. So in that one, I say, I'm sorry for you, I'm sorry for your family if you're suffering from mental health issues. But when you start trick slapping old men with baseball bats and killing them, and killing several other people as well, you know, that's the end of the road for you. There is no recovering and coming back and saying, right, I understand that was out of order now. Can I get a part-time job? No, can you fuck? So, that is Mr. Herbert Mullin.
Mary Guilfoyle was hitchhiking to an appointment she was late for when Mullin spotted her near Cabrillo College and offered her a ride. She climbed in with the notion that she would make it to her destination. However, the car would never come to a stop before Guilfoyle would take her last breath. While in motion, traveling down a busy street, Mullin managed to stab Guilfoyle in the heart. Mullin went on to dissect the body before dumping it in nearby mountains. Mary Guilfoyle's body was found months later, reportedly so badly decomposed that signs that she had been murdered were not apparent. Mullin believed that he informed his victims telepathically that it was okay to kill them via a die song, and in return they expressed their willingness to die through communication, ultimately claiming them as the human sacrifices needed to stop the earthquake from taking place. On November 2, 1972, at St. Mary's Church in Los Gatos, California, Father Henry Tomei and Pastor Richard Howley were sharing a meal when a knock on the church's door revealed a man seeking the service of confession. Allowing Howley to finish his lunch, Father Tomei offered to help the man. Whether a confession was made or not, Father Tomei's body was found an hour later with 3 stab wounds in his chest, with Mullin claiming his third victim. At some point during his spree, Mullin attempted to join the U.S. Marines, but an observation of his peculiar demeanor and his refusal to release his criminal records caused him to be dismissed. And in December of 1972, Mullin purchased a .22 caliber handgun to continue his mission. January 1973. As the 4th approached, locals prepared themselves for what might be one of the biggest natural disasters to date. Some were planning to escape the city for a while others flocked to purchase earthquake insurance policies as a means to protect their assets. On the day of the highly anticipated earthquake, the sun would rise and set over San Francisco, making January 4th, 1973 just another ordinary day in the Bay. Mullin believed his work had been successful, thus continuing his killing spree.
Boom, boom, Joseph Kallinger. What a fucking twat. Joseph Kallinger. Right, I'll tell you why in a minute. Who's this guy? Fucking weirdo, that's who. He grew up, his father, I think, was a fucking cobbler, as we call him, in Manchester, a shoemaking dude. Shoe fixing, shoe repairing, shoemaking dude. And he grew up with that, and he had an abusive childhood, which is terrible. He had an abusive childhood, and his dad was a fucked up, strict ass disciplinarian. I always think these super strict fucking bastard disciplinarians are paedophiles. I think a lot of them are. I think they're paedophiles, and they've got these urges to fucking do their nasties onto their kids when they see them in the house and all that, and especially when they've been drinking, and they get angry, they fucking, project the anger onto the child. You provoking me, you running about in your underpants, you're making me feel these nasty, pervy fucking shit feelings that are going on in my body. I'm going to punish you. I'm going to lock you in a fucking cupboard where I can't see you. I think that's what it is with a lot of these. I think they're fucking pedos. And I think this guy's dad was a fucking pedo. That's what I reckon. I reckon this guy's dad, who I've never met, was a fucking pedo. But in the best case scenario for everyone involved, he was a fucking bastard who bullied and beat his wife, bullied and beat his kids. Horrible twat. And he gives birth to, well, his wife does, gives birth to Joe Kallinger, his son, one of several siblings, brings him up, teaches him how to fix shoes. Why? So he can have a nice life? No. So his dad can fuck off to the pub and say, fucking fix them shoes, you little twat. And I'll be back later, pissed up, to kick your fucking head in. Which is what he did. And so Joe Kallinger develops this idea that he can save lives and influence the world, whatever, by making perfect heels. Not shoes, heels. By perfectly attaching, correcting, moulding, whatever the motherfucking thing you want to say, heels to a shoe or a boot. Some kind of power in the heel of these shoes or boots that he was healing up. Did he confuse the two words? Heel, H-E-E-L, with heel, H-E-A-L. Maybe he thought that's what heal the world means. Anyway, he fucking started healing every cunt in town. Do you want me to fucking heal that up for you? And after a certain period of time of doing this and being that guy, you know, the heal guy, he concluded that his plans were shit. He just, you know, he wasn't achieving his goals at all. He wasn't really getting anything or achieving anything, and the things that he was trying to manifest simply weren't occurring. And so he decided that he needed to be a bit more fucking proactive with this. The whole heal thing's not panning out, guys. You know what I mean? So I'm going to take my son on the road. Now, we know that Joseph Kallinger, first of all, we know that he suffered from schizophrenia. Again, he started in his teens. So there's some kind of family tragedy, which escapes my memory now. I think the mother died. Something like that. And his sister went crazy. Joe Kallinger's sister went crazy. And she was in an asylum. Mental health institution. I think back then we would have said that he was in an asylum. I don't know when. We're talking probably in the 50s. I think there were asylums back then. So his sister goes into an asylum. He's a fucking strange child, albeit quite gifted in some ways, as most children are. And then he goes into the asylum as well. And he fucking, I don't know how long he's in there for, but he gets out. And he grows up and has some kids of his own and, you know, kind of re-perpetrates what had happened before. I don't think his mum died. I can't remember what the tragedy was. But anyway, he repeats the cycle. He has a load of kids with fuck knows who's the woman who's having kids with this freaky heel-up bastard. Anyway, he's an abuser and he's a bully like his dad. And when he realises the whole fucking heel thing's not panning out, he decides that he's going to take his son on the road, as I said before. And so he takes his son and he says, listen, we're going to do New Jersey, Philadelphia and Baltimore. It's a large area. And what we're going to do is we're going to be salesmen. I'm a salesman and you're my son, right? So they go up to houses, knock on the door. Hi, I'm here to sell fucking vacuum cleaners. Oh, I don't want a vacuum cleaner, you ugly bastard. Get the fuck off my lawn. Well, before I do that, can my son have a shit? Otherwise, he's going to do it here. Well, all right then, fucking hell. So the son goes in, all right, nice one, I'll wipe his ass. So they're in your house now. And then, you know, while he's in there, oh yeah, this'll stink. Fucking knife's out, bang, knife to the fucking throat and all that. He turns, nasty, and I've got a gun. And he fucking ties them up. If women, in every case, cowardly cunt, staking out the house, making sure it's just a woman on her own. Ties her up, fucking gags her and all that, rapes her every time. This is his MO, right? His son's in the house, right? Son's not really having a shit, he's hiding. Comes out, fucking dad's there, and he's like 10-year-old boy this. And he has to sit there, or was probably hiding in the kitchen, I imagine. He's got to wait for his dad to finish raping and fucking brutalising this woman. And he's doing it all the time. He's on a mission. He's bringing his son everywhere doing this. No idea how many times he did it. I think he killed 3 people. Well, I know he killed 3 people. But I don't know how many he fucking sexually abused. But I know that he terrorised 4 families. This is the whole family. Again, guy comes up, knocks on the door, right? The whole family's in the house. You're watching TV. Maybe someone's telling you a fucking story. Maybe it's a good story. And then you get a knock on the door. Oh, for fuck's sake, who's this? Goes to the door. I hear fucking bullshit. Can we just come in? My son's going to fucking shit himself. Right. Come in. Fuck me. Or maybe they were Christians. Hey, Christians get a bad rap. You know what I mean? A Christian fucking, you know, religious fucking nutters are all fucking crazy. I've seen Christians do wonderful things, man. If you're going to get help off a stranger, ask, are you a Christian? Fucking 9 times out of 10 they'll say, yes, I am, actually. So, if you're just going to indiscriminately fucking slag people off because of their beliefs and then go on Twitter acting a fucking trendy cunt, fuck off. Right? I'm not a Christian. I just don't automatically disrespect anyone who is. So a Christian says, come in. It's my belief system, this. That's why I'm saying it. My belief system indicates to me that I should bring you in. Even though you look a right dodgy bastard. Right? By this time, he murdered and fucking raped loads of people. You look a right dodgy fucker. All my instincts are saying, nah, I'm going to shut this door and I'm going to call the police. Right? Or I'm going to tell John to come out here and beast your head down the fucking path. I'm not going to do those things. I'm going to bring you in with your son and I'm going to let this little bastard go and have a fucking dump on my porcelain. Then you're in the front room and this sketchy fucker's in there twitching and scratching and all that. And suddenly, bang, fucking knife comes out. It's fucking, and you could put a knife to a girl's fucking throat in the living room, maybe your daughter or whatever. And this is what he used to do. He used to take over the house. I mean, the horrendousness necessary to do that. You know, I jest, I'm whimsical. But really, what is necessary to take control of a family? I say extremity. Extreme violence or threats of extreme violence, and you need to be very convincing. This guy had a knife and a gun. So he's taking over the whole fucking family, tying them up, and he's raping the females. You know, and the young females, maybe. I suppose. Terrible. And he's bringing his son with him every time. In the end, it's 1975, he goes on a mission and brings his son there to this house. And he goes in and I think there's 3 people there when he arrives. And he does the same old trick. Son needs a shit. Fucking blah, blah, blah. In they go, fucking tie him up. He's not satisfied, he's raping them, yeah? But he stays in the house with the son. And he's letting them come back. Because there's plenty of people living there. And as they're coming back, he's fucking jumping them. Down on the ground. Right? And he's fucking raping them where he feels like he can. I don't know if he's like one of these sex beasts who can just fucking shag all day. A lot of these mentalists, right, they can just sex all day, them fuckers. They can, I'm telling you. Trust. And he's doing that. He's shagging them as they come through the door. Tying them up, robbing them. And the last one comes home, this girl. She's the 8th person. The 8th person to come home. Not the 8th rape, because some of them were men or whatever. But the 8th person, she comes in, right? And he says, fucking down on your knees, do this, do that. She says, fuck you, you fucking weedy cop, fucking dipshit, fucking knob cheese. Or words to that effect. And he fucking stabs her in the neck. Stabs her in the fucking neck. And in the back. I mean, come on. I don't know how that's gone down. I mean, did she fucking tell him to fuck off and then turn her back on him? I mean, surveying the scene, would you show your back to a cunt like that? Maybe she tried to run away when he stabbed her in the neck. Probably that, innit? He's probably whipped the knife out, stabbed her in the neck. Right? It hasn't killed her. She's fucking made a beeline for the door and he's come after her, stabbing her in the back. The fucking shady little bastard. That's probably what's happened. And she's died. And they've gone to court. And he's got fucking many a life sentence. Many a life sentence. And they've concluded, again, you know, he's a fucking mentalist. But his evil is stronger than his mental illness. And so, you know, he's going to prison, this guy.
Joe Kallinger, currently serving a life sentence for sex-related murder here at the State Hospital for the Criminally Insane, just outside Scranton, Pennsylvania.
I'm a patient person, got a good listening ear, and try to help people.
You're patient with a good ear, and you try to help people.
Yes.
When you're not trying to murder them.
Yes.
When Kallinger's reign of terror ended, 3 were dead, including his 14-year-old son.
You murdered your own son?
Yes, I did.
Why did you do that?
He was a sacrifice. I was to murder 3 million people on the planet Earth. And he was a sacrifice to see if I could murder one of my own. At the end of murdering all the people on Earth, I was going to murder my own family and then take my own life and become God.
What do you think of the death penalty?
I'm opposed to it.
The state has no right to take your life, but you can murder other people?
I don't think anyone has the right to take a life.
Except you?
When I'm under hallucination, I do.
These voices from God, these hallucinations, do you still experience them?
Yes, I do.
Often?
Often.
Do you ever feel violent?
Yes, I do.
What do you feel like doing?
Killing people.
You still feel like killing people?
Yes.
Describe the feeling that you get when you feel like killing people.
Well, last March 11th, I was hallucinating, and I took a razor blade and I cut a man's throat.
Here in the hospital?
Here in the hospital.
Do you think you'd murder me, Joe?
Yes.
That's gruesome, Joe. That's horrible.
Yes, it is.
And you don't blame me if I say I hope you never get out of this place.
I hope I never do either.
And rightly so. Rightly fucking so. Because he brought the son with him. He knew he wouldn't get in that house without the son. And so he brought the son with him. They charged the son with burglary. A 10-year-old fucking boy. How can he not be a kidnap victim? How is he not a hostage in that situation? His fucking abusive, weirdo, fucking mentalist dad is dragging him round on these psychopathic fucking hit missions, telling him what to do, and they charged a 10-year-old fucking boy. Oh my God. That is horrendous. We're going to jump.